Welcome back to another episode of today's economic news. I'm John, and today we dive deep into a troubling transformation, one that has implications far beyond the serene shores it envelops. Margarita Island, once a beacon of paradise in the Caribbean, brimming with pristine beaches and flourishing tourism, is now embroiled in controversy, known as the so-called Terror Island. This is no longer just a decline in tourism statistics, but something far more insidious that threatens regional and global stability. But why should you, our viewers, be concerned about an island in the Caribbean? Because what is unfolding on this island is a microcosm of failed state governance, covert alliances, and the creeping shadow of terrorism, all propped up by a facade of desperation and survival. It's a textbook story of how governance, when corrupt and incompetent, becomes a breeding ground for international extremism and crime. And while the beaches lie empty, waiting for tourists that may never come, the void has been filled by other actors with frightening objectives. Before we scrutinize today's grim tidings, let's cast our minds back to 1998. It was a turning point when Hugo Chavez ascended to power, and Venezuela began aligning itself with regimes that were in open defiance of U.S. interests. It was then that Margarita Island started its slow metamorphosis. With Venezuela welcoming groups like Hezbollah, the island turned into a covert operational base, far from the clutches of effective law enforcement and international scrutiny. Fast forward to 2013, Nicolas Maduro, Chavez's successor, further entrenched these international alliances against the backdrop of an economically crumbling nation. The ties between the Venezuelan regime and entities like the Cartel de los Soles deepened, facilitating the growth of Hezbollah's infrastructure on Margarita Island. This nexus of crime, politics, and terror was nourished by the regime's desperation to stay afloat economically, facing internal collapse and international sanctions. Now, let's turn to some hard data, shedding light on these developments. Margarita Island's flights have plummeted by 50%. This is not just a decrease in numbers, it's indicative of the island's shift from a tourism hub to a clandestine outpost. Imagine the implications of half the number of eyes from the outside world, enabling nefarious activities like drug trafficking and terrorism to thrive unchecked. Between 2010 and 2019, over 10,400 passports were granted to individuals from Lebanon, Syria, and Iran by Venezuelan authorities. This fact alone reflects a chilling picture of how a nation initiates covert demographic shifts that bolster inimical entities. Think about it. More than 10,000 new arrivals with potential links to areas embroiled in extremist activities. Hezbollah's activities have seen significant expansion since 2013, illustrating the Maduro government's complicity, or, at the very least, its impotency in tackling these issues. This isn't just neglect, it's state-sanctioned criminal growth. Do they think the international community is oblivious? And let's not forget direct quotes from prominent figures asserting that the single most serious threat to the United States from the Western Hemisphere is from transnational terrorist criminal groups primarily focused on narco-trafficking. When we hear that Margarita Island is really the center of gravity for their activities, it's not mere rhetoric. It sends a clear signal of geopolitical recklessness emanating from these shores. The libertarian in me is incandescent with the betrayal that such actions represent. The grand theft of taxpayer welfare under the guise of state survival has resulted in an abomination against the people of Venezuela, where hyperinflation devours livelihoods while crime syndicates thrive. The Maduro government's inability to provide even basic necessities is not merely incompetence. It has paved the way for alliances that prioritize illicit gain over the common good. As citizens, the loss of liberty is acute, with the law of the jungle reigning supreme in what was once a land of freedom. It's a sober reminder of how fragile freedoms can be when a state fosters terrorism over tourism, crime over community welfare. The American dream, for many, is a distant echo that's being drowned out by gunfire and corruption. So, as we wrap up today, remember this dire snapshot. Margarita Island, once the crown jewel of tourism, is now an ominous warning sign. If you are tired of paying for their mistakes, hit subscribe and stay informed. I'm John, signing off from today's economic news. Until next time, stay vigilant